Hi everyone, and welcome to day one of about 30 days of a new challenge, React Components challenge. So the idea behind this is I haven't been coding daily in React for about a month plus now, and like with everything, you either use it or lose it, and I still want to stay fluent. So given I don't have an ongoing React project, I decided I would do this just to keep my skills fresh. Basically, what this is each day I am gonna have a look at a component on Shopify's component library on Storybook. So Storybook has this showcase. Let me do it this way. Storybook has this showcase area where companies who want to can put up their component libraries for others to see. Unfortunately, my internet is really slow right now and it's taking forever to load. Okay, cool. So that's loaded. So this is where, if you're interested, you can also come find the Shopify component library. And what I'm going to be doing is every day I'm just going to look at one component. I'll try and implement the component and whichever state of the component I think are interesting or I think will be difficult for me to do on a normal day. And then when I'm done, I'll head over to Shopify's GitHub, the GitHub repo that contains the code for all these components, and then I'll just look at how I did versus, what I did versus what they did, and why theirs is better or why mine is better, basically. Internet is really slow. Let's see if I can just change over quickly. Yeah, so that's the idea. I was already midway through implementing my first component when I decided, you know what, I may as well just record this as I go and see what it looks like. And I just thought it would be interesting to go back over this to see what it looks like, what my progress looked like as I went along, and also just so that I could share with other people what this is like. So yeah, the first component I chose, I decided to go with, was this very basic button component. It has a ton of states like destructive, disabled, full width, large, loading. I'm not going to be able to implement all of them. I literally have just like 10 minutes left. So the only thing I'm doing is implementing the basic states. Before that, let me see if I can close some tabs because my Mac apparently doesn't like what I'm doing right now. Okay, anyway, so let's close all those tabs, close some more over here. Hopefully that appeases the Mac fangods. And you guys don't have to hear my fans screaming. Okay, cool. So yeah, implementing this, I already started. I started with basic button. Actually, maybe I should just start again. Oh, interesting. Looks like Microsoft wants to follow up with the role. That's fun. Delete all of this. I'm going to explain the context within which I am creating this component. So as I'm creating my components, I'm going to be creating them as stories using the Storybook library. And basically what that means is when each story is done, I'll be able to come here, which is, running locally, just so you know it. And I'll be able to come here and see the component I'm building, and potentially I can share this with other people, but I mean, what's the point? It's already out there on Shopify, but I guess it's just also a good way to get used to using Storybook. So let's get cracking. First thing to note is this is what a story looks like. You import the things you need for the story from Storybook, and then you import the components that you built, and then you can define the title of the story, the components it's using, the arguments it takes, and then you can also like create passing different prop values to trigger different states, right? So ignoring all of this, I'm just jumping straight to what I want to create. I want to create this button, or recreate this button, the basic button state. That's a basic button. It takes a text. There's a hover state, and there's a bounding box. There's also curved edges. Right. So let's just do that. We'll start with exporting. While we're exporting a button component, right now we're not giving it any props, and then we're just going to return a typical HTML button. Cool. I wonder if this resolves our storybook issues. Yeah. So there we go. We're starting. We're getting somewhere. Let me see if I can rename this to basic. So here it says large. I want to see if I can rename that to say, just like it says on the specify component library, basic button. So let's go into our story. Let's go into our story. There must be something here that says large. Yeah, there we go. Large. So we'll just rename that to basic button. Ooh. Oh no. Let's just undo that. Rename that to basic button. Why does... I don't think this is what we're looking for. Because why does it say size? Let's see what that gives us. Yeah. Okay, so we do have basic button. How do we have basic button? I want to remove this. These are arguments. We're not passing any arguments at the moment. I think it just does, it takes the name of our function and then it just puts a space between every word. Cool. And when we look at controls, background color is still here. Haven't defined any background color. Oh, that's a default that's coming from there. Okay, and let's delete the other ones. Why is there a squiggly line? Type unknown is not assignable to type intrinsic attributes. No clue what that means, to be honest with you. I'm just going to ignore it for now. At this point, I can't remember why we were using primary. Oh yeah, we don't need this. So at this point, we are creating some templates, binding that template, setting the value of this in that template to an empty object, and then assigning the values to the properties of that returns function in which we can assign property values to. Why this has to be empty object, I don't know. Could it be anything? I don't think we're using this for anything, so I don't think that should break. Okay, anyway, so now all we have is a button and then a basic button. So let's finish up and get to this point as quickly as we can. Back to our button. The first thing I wanted to do is take a text property. So let's see, interface iButton let's say that's text, and that's a string. And now we can take prop, destructure the props, and that will be of the type iButton, and then we can just give that prop. Now we can update our story to say an arg, which we expect is text, and the default value of that arg is add product. Was it a capital P? I don't remember. Small p. Cool. Let's see what that looks like. Controls, text, add product. Cool. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Apparently text is required. Text should be required, right? What else do we want to do? Okay, so things we said, there's a hover state, there's significant padding, curved edges, and then there's a borderline. Let's start with, let's just create CSS classes for each of those states. We'll go into our button.css, and we'll just say .button. Let's create a class layout that will, define the padding and all that kind of stuff. Let's create a class BG background BG that will define hover states and things like that. Let's create a class. If layout is defining, okay, let's say border. Let's get another class border. So that defines borders, whether there's a border, whether the edges are curved, and this can define the hover state, the color, and this can define the padding and the margins. And then maybe one more class to define the text. So we know that in terms of the layout, there's some padding. Now I just want it to look like it, not to be exact. So let's just give some padding on all sides of let's say 5px, and then the background, the button, I think that's the hover. Ooh. Don't remember what the pseudo class, the way to specify pseudo class for hover. But anyway, default background. Let's just make it white, and then when we hover it, let's see. Let's actually just use the inspect property here. I want to see what this looks like. That doesn't help. What was I going for? Element style. Oh, how do you specify? You see, use it or lose it. It's a pseudo. Oh. CSS. Pseudo class, yes. Okay. But I have seen this nested before. Well, maybe I was using a CSS processor like SCSS or something. Yeah. If I was, I think I want to continue because I would like to have them nested within each other. Okay, so the hover state, let's just change the background to some light gray. But I don't know how to specify light gray. So for now, I'll just say gray. And then what else? The borders, radius of, let's say 5 pixels, and then the text. Let's give it a font size of 13 pixels default. Cool. And to apply those, just come here. There are going to be a lot of them. Class name. I mean, sure, why not? But seems like a lot of stress to have to write out all the different class names. The idea behind using such different and distinct class names was considering the number of states we want to mutate. Why not separate all the possible states into distinct classes so that it's just easier to modify? But to be honest, I would rather save myself the stress of writing out 100 class names and see if the problem I was trying to avoid comes up later. So all I'm going to do is button and button hover, simple and short. So now all I have to do is just put in one class name, and hopefully when we have a look at our no difference, nada, nothing. What's going on here? Do I need to refresh? Is that a thing? Are the classes being applied? It's very unlikely the classes are being applied. Yeah, font sizing is applied. Background color, it's all still the default thing. Very unusual. Oh, guys, oh my god, I didn't even import it. So like, where is it supposed to get it from? How do you import CSS classes? I'm just going to pick out how they're doing it here. Just import the path. Cool. Button.css. Awesome. And hopefully we have a difference. Yay, there's a difference. Things I forgot about the border, I forgot about the padding. So let's add those to our button CSS. No, I didn't forget about the padding. I guess top and bottom we can make it 5. Left and right we can make it something like 10px. Border radius, border itself, let's give that like 1 pixel, 0.5. Is that possible? Let's give it a solid gray, not a black. Okay. It looks pretty much nothing like the and they have the cursor even changes when you, okay. I don't know what's different here. You know, aside from the fact that it's bigger, it has more padding perhaps. And the cursor changes. The font is also thicker. It's a different font. I'm not going to worry about fonts. It also has like a shadow. Oh, so many distinct things. I'm going to inspect the hover state color and just apply that, by the way. On hover, the background is they're using a CSS variable. Let's see if that's the color that I want. On hover, and then what else? Oh, there we go, that looks more like it. They are using a CSS variable. That's a bit of cheating here because that's some implementation detail I didn't want to see. Let's remove that hover state, close that. Yeah, there is some. Oh, do you guys see that? There's like a line to the right of the button when you but it's not always there. I'm going to ignore that. Okay, so I mean, I don't think we're too far off, to be honest with you, for the basic states. There is definitely more, it's definitely longer. I'm personally surprised that it's that long, but it's about the same height. Font is bigger. Oh, am I pushing myself with all these details? Like I said, I did not want to achieve a perfect state, a perfect replica, but yeah. Font is bigger, and then the what do you call it? The pointer changes to pointer on hover. I think we've gotten most of the details. Let's remember how many things: the pointer, the background shadow, border. The border is more than 0.5. Pointer. How do you do this? I can't remember the property that sets the pointer, so let's look. Pointer CSS. Cursor pointer. That's what it is. There we go. And then what else? I love that suggestion. What else? The shadow. I don't know that there's a shadow is always a difficult one. Let's just see what happens if I do a general shadow. But yeah, nothing. We have a pointer, and then that's it really. Something I think I noticed here. Yeah, right click. The right click has the defaults. Is this something they coded, or it's not it has this blue focus border that you'd expect to have for accessibility, but mine doesn't, and I think that's important. But I don't know how they did that. Also, my shadow isn't showing. I never know how to do shadows. I'll do the shadow and then I'll try to do the blue background. Oh yeah, you specify. What was I thinking? Specifying grid. You specify the X and the Y. I think that's how it works. I just wonder why. I think let's hope we do see some shadow. And I think you can also specify color. I should look at the API before I do that. I don't like looking at, I don't like yeah, there we go. I prefer Mozilla's documentation for box shadow. Yeah. So, what are we looking at? Where is the API? Oh, this is super confusing. I just want to know how many coordinates values I need to specify before I specify a color value. I'll just look at the examples. Yeah, 2 seems like minimum, which I'm doing already. So, that's too much. That's too much. Gray didn't apply. I think we all noticed that. I don't think doing something like this will apply either. Now let's just see. 1 pixel. Like, would you even notice that? 2 pixels seems like too much there, but I want to see. If it's there, I can't see it. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much, but it's an obvious. Yeah, there's a shadow. It's there. Let's take that to. Let's just take that back. If it's there, we cannot see it. That's fine. And the last thing is the right click. I don't know that there is. I mean, isn't this supposed to be a default thing? I mean, on click, on focus, we could give it. We could give it a border. You know, that kind of thing. This is just something I expect. Oops. Why is it that they have that? They don't have it when I click. They have it when I right click. And it stays here until I click outside somewhere else. Why don't they have it when I click? Well, I'm going to see the color that they are using for. It doesn't persist when the console is open. That gives me the impression that it's a default, like, it's a default action. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why it's not showing up. I don't think this is necessary. but I don't want to figure out why it's not showing up. Anyway, so in terms of the basic button, to be fair, personally I think this is close enough. It's super different, but same idea. The difference between this and this is the refinement in design. Given that I'm not working with specific values, I'm not going to try and refine this based on just what I see, and I'm not going to pick out the exact values either. Next thing is I'm going to check the code to see how they implemented this basic state, and maybe that will show me the clue as to how as to why this blue border is showing. So let's pop into the Polaris GitHub repo, and we're gonna go to React component source, components, let's see, button.tsx. Now this is probably going to be a huge ass file, yep, as we expected, but we're only interested in the basic states. First of all, interesting. Okay, so they have an interface. They do not bother taking children. They don't bother taking text. They just take children. So that's a good one. So yeah. So they don't need, I don't need this. I don't need this. Psst. All I need to do is to structure children. And this is by default passed to every how do I, what's the type? What's the type I need for React props? I'm just gonna search because let me have a look at the button props. What's the type of their props? Oh. Whatever it is, it's gonna look like this. Apparently not. Okay. Guess I have to look for it. Oh, I put a space. And all of this is of the type button props. Button props extends base button. No, I'm not going that far. Let's look at something like TypeScript React props type. Who is gonna give me the answer? Maybe this looks like it's gonna be the answer. Give me the answer. I know I need to extend this. This is a real component. Let's say I just give me a sec. If I extend I can't do it that way though. I can't do it that way. If I extend the real component, then it would inherit all the props I want. Jump at me. Where am I? Where is it? Oh look, they have a button. Not what I'm looking for. Not what I'm looking for. There we go. But that uses a class. I don't want to bother using a class. Am I stuck? I want to get the default type of React props. I can do that by extending the React components or actually specifying setting the type. Okay, so the question is, when using a function component, how do I extend a function component? I don't. But why not? TypeScript only allows you to extend classes, and I'm imagining interfaces. Yeah. So either I make this a class. Yeah, something's just off here. I should be able to use function components. Okay. Since this didn't give me the React prop types, let's just do some more Google searching. React props type. No, not what I want. I'm familiar with prop types, but not what I want. I think this is kind of what I'm looking for. Why isn't anyone just like providing the answer? Yes, there we go. The entire thing is a JSX element or a React component. Oh, they've discouraged React.fc apparently. Let's read about this. This looks interesting. Okay, I really like this blog. What? Function, oh, I think this already happened. I saw this somewhere. Function components will no longer accept no children by default. Why? So does that mean we'll then have to specify every single how we pass children. Okay, I want to I'm gonna read about this very quickly. In the meantime, let's do what we want to do. React dots. They're suggesting using the type React.vfc. Sure, why not? Let me try that out. Yeah. So when I used the React.vfc, this still had any type, and this is no longer a JSX element. It's a JSX element, but it doesn't infer. I see. Yeah, but still. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I have to do this. I mean, it's the same thing. This could be a JSX element. I was specifying the return value. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to confirm something. Constant. So it's specify that this is a JSX. No. Remove this assertion and we get an any. Interesting. Export default button. So what exactly is the problem? So this is what I'm used to. If it's not recommended to use functional components, the FC type anymore, and when we use the VFC, we still have to specify a type for children, and even going further than that, if the VFC, if the default children prop is going to be removed in React 18, I mean, that means we have to specify the props for string. Why? Why is this gonna be an error? Error noun in the future duplicated. Okay. This will be duplicated. Wow. If I were to future-proof this, I would say the best way to do that is to do this. This could be itself a React.vfc, and to tell it that type property children is written in type prepared in I button. I think this is the future-proof way of coding this component. Although it would have been really nice to see the deprecation warnings. I'm not getting any of those, even though I think I'm using the latest. Let's first check my package JSON, the latest version of React. React. Yeah, 18, but I think that means 18 and higher. So if we look at the yarn.log, let's look for the exact version of React we have. Maybe we'll start with /React, @React, so many Reacts. Let's see if there's anything that's 18 point. Okay, no. What's the pattern here? There we go. Exactly 18. If it's 18, then it should no longer accept. Yeah, it doesn't, right? It didn't when we didn't pass it anything. It told us that that children doesn't exist on type. So that's sad. I used to like that nifty. Just knowing that children will be there by default, but it's fine. Yeah, so I think that's the future-proof way of doing that. Okay, how else did they implement? Where is it? Implement their button. It's optional, and it's either a string. Oh, come on! This is yes. I don't know why they're accepting an array. I'm not going to start with accepting an array. For me, it's going to be required actually, but it's not going to be a real component. No, it's going to be a string, because we just want text, right? Yeah, that makes more sense. And what else? So What else am I interested in here, to be honest? They have this on forecast. I'm going to see if we can figure out in the next 10 minutes why they have that blue border when I right click. On blower, on key down, on key press, they're taking all these. Okay, but that's not. Is it area? No, that's. Okay, let's see. Not much of a clue there. Where is the return? Wow, this is such a huge component for a button. Amazing. I don't even know where to start. I wish, to answer this question, I just wish I could find out what controls they've passed to basic. Maybe I can. Maybe this repository has stories. Maybe I can have a look at the stories to see. Yes, they do. Okay, that's .storybook. Sorry, this is confusing. The way you have source and then you have stories, it's not in storybook, it's in source. But they don't have the stories here. What have they done? Is there a way to quickly search this repository? What's the file format? It's .stories.tsx. Just this repository, please. Okay. How about this? Stories. Yeah, this repo is a bit more complex than I thought, than I hoped, actually. So I'm just gonna have a look at the styles to see if they're doing any. Oh no, not here. Let me get to components and button. Do they have styles in here? They have, yeah, an SCSS. If there is anything that's color, background, box shadow that's affecting the border. Actually, let me go for border. That's for when an outline is passed. Move this away. 35 instances. Active. They have an active. What's this? What's active? Actually, what's current color? I guess a quick way would be, but I couldn't inspect color. I was gonna say quick way would be to, what did they define? Hopefully they defined the color. No, they didn't. Ain't defined. Okay, I'm gonna try and find that. What does active mean? And can I recreate that state? Yeah, it's not what I thought it meant. Focus, yes, focus does give us our outline. I want to see the color of that outline, and okay, cool. And search for that. Hoping they haven't used dynamic colors. First of all, let me search this page. Doesn't exist here. The entire repository does not exist. Okay. In that case, let's see. What are they doing on focus? Focus. I can't find the. There we go. They're setting a box shadow to a variable color called P shadow button. I'm sure we'll be able to find this, almost like 100% sure we'll be able to find this inside here. So, well, if not there, then somewhere in the repo. GitHub search really needs to up its game. I'm gonna search for just the variable. That's weird. P shadow button, but it doesn't exist in code. How are they setting it? It doesn't exist in code. Does our class exists as a hard-coded value, or is that dynamically generated? I mean, this already confirms to me that yes, they are responsible for that blue outline that I was curious about. Question now is, where are they actually? This is ridiculous. I'm never. GitHub search is just a mess all the time. Every single time I needed to give me results. And I probably should not complain and just learn how to use it, to be honest with you. Or use that thing other developers keep hyping, source graph. Well, I know that they are responsible. Maybe tomorrow I will look more into it, but I've already spent more than an hour on this. I'm going to stop down with where I got to. Oh, shoot. This is broken. Let's see if I can just fix this very quickly. Display name. But I'm not doing anything with display name. This does not work. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm confused. Module has an exported member. Oh. Did you mean to use... yeah. Yes, I did. But why doesn't it? Very weird. That should fix things. Yeah, we have a button back. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll just look at how to add the accessibility feature of a blue border and focus.